Display boxes. I love these things. I have them in my workshop and in my home, and I use them to highlight items and in many cases even places and events which are special to me. They act as frames to present and preserve what's inside. I could hang pretty much anything anywhere on my walls, but that anything, once framed and held within a display box, becomes so much more precious. Now I've got another display to build, this one for two very special items. These purple suede hush puppy loafers. Where did I obtain these? And why are they so special? I'll get to that. But yes, they're purple, not violet or burgundy or any other color. Purple. I'm glad that's settled. These are special, quirky and rare. I just can't find these online. Keith Richards was wearing a pair of hush puppies when he was accidentally electrocuted.
And Mick Jagger said, "Not funny!"
during a show in Sacramento in 1965. His guitar touched an ungrounded mic, which knocked him unconscious. Medics believe that the non-conductive soles of his hush puppies insulated him and saved his life. The Rolling Stones and rock music as we know it today wouldn't exist if not for these. Just out of high school, I played in a rock band, and we would normally practice at my parents' house. My dad did most of the electrical wiring, and I now realize he didn't believe in polarity, maybe even grounds, when hooking up receptacles. I don't know how Keith Richards got knocked out from touching his guitar to a microphone, probably the microphone stand, but I can tell you, touching your lips to a metal microphone while also having your fingertips on electric guitar strings, and both amps are connected to different circuits which my dad connected himself, by the way, that'll make you see bluish colors in your head. But I still don't see what the hush puppies have to do with it. Elvis, the Rat Pack, that's Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., even David Bowie were fans of these shoes. These are cool shoes. These size 12 loafers were entrusted to me by a man whose feet and heart were too big, even for these canoe-sized behemoths. And I want to make a box which can stylishly display them. So I'll need to give them space all around, about an inch, keeping these about half an inch apart. Since these are 12 3/4 inches long, I'll make that an even and lucky 13, and 4 3/4 inches at their widest, go for 5 inches. The insides of this box will be roughly 12 by 15 inches. There will be a back panel and a glass front. I'm actually going with acrylic instead of glass because I can cut this myself. It'll be faster. Also, I'll need a way to open the box because I do occasionally wear these. Additionally, I'm wiring in LEDs to provide some internal lighting using leftover strips which I'll solder together, and power with a small transformer instead of the provided battery packs. I'm using this 1x6 piece of lumber. It's actually 3/4 inches by 5.5 inches and just over 6 feet long, because that 1/16 of an inch is there possibly to compensate for the theft of lumber we've been subjected to for decades. Anyone who's ever watched me work on my channel knows I'm not a proficient woodworker. So my corners will be very simple 45-degree cuts. I'll putty this up if necessary and paint it a contrasting but equivalent color. The coup de grace, the finish, the flourish will be what's printed on the glass. Break glass in case of funk, along with a dinky little glass shattering hammer on the chain. And with those minor additions to a display box, these shoes are transformed to emergency funkwear. No, emergency funky footwear. At this time, I think some younger viewers might need a bit of an explainer, because I don't think those break glass in case of fire boxes exist anymore. But it used to be. There were these boxes with a glass front, a glass panel, and a little hammer on the chain that you would break the glass, and there was a lever inside or a fire extinguisher. But I'm not sure if people can even pull levers anymore in case of fire, or has everything been automated? But those have been relegated to days when we were trusted to do things ourselves. My rinky-dink battery-powered miter saw can't handle 5.5 inches across. So I'm pulling out the big guns. Okay. Actually, not too bad. For those unfamiliar with the Hush Puppies brand, they've been around since the late 50s and were once so popular that 1 person out of 10 owned a pair. I'm thinking probably in the States, right? Then their popularity waned, but they've occasionally come back into fashion every 10 years or so. The origins of the name Hush Puppies comes from the old saying, "These dogs are barking," meaning my feet are killing me.
My dogs are barking today.
And there's this connection with a cornmeal treat hunters would give their hunting dogs to hush the puppies. Whatever, both the cornmeal treats and these shoes would stop the dogs from barking.
Oh!
If you're wondering what all those construction noises are, that's Juliet, my daughter. There's some construction going on my street for the next month or so. So please, bear with me. Go here. Oh yeah. As you can see, I opted for matte black spray paint, then assembled the halves of the frame with the plexiglass panel inserted in the slot. When the display box was complete, I cut it apart at my table saw. I then spray painted whatever still wasn't matte black, being careful to protect the plexiglass. I was looking for a fairly elaborate way of keeping these shoes centered in place and sort of hanging inside the frame, inside the box. Easiest solution, a bit of PVC cut at 45 degrees, and this will hold it in place at the back of the box. 12, 7.8. Okay, yeah. This is touching the underside, so I need to cut this even shorter. Very nice. Yeah, that works for me. Okay. What am I using to secure these PVC shoe hooks? Pop rivets. And then grinding them down so they don't stick at the back. I'm using 2 short sections of leftover LED strip lighting. There's a method of attaching lengths of these, which includes cutting them on what amounts to being a dotted line. Then connecting them together with solder. The usual technique is cleaning, fluxing, tinning, then soldering. I'm also including a short length of wire to keep the 2 sections solidly connected. Straight across here. Maybe not an absolute necessity, but I'm spreading a blob of goop glue to cover the section I just soldered. I'm drilling holes to lead the power cable out and to the back of the display box. These are old strips of LEDs, and the adhesive might have become a bit less efficient than when new. I think I'll need to add some sort of glue to hold it in place permanently. Close. Okay, let's paint this. That hole I drilled to get the wire to the back of the box will be filled and painted matte black like the rest of the box. I guess it's time to talk about where these shoes came from. You might remember a few months ago, I asked social media about the whereabouts of a buddy who disappeared while vacationing overseas. That was my good friend, Ed. He was the very first duct taper, or Duct Tapers Anonymous member, to sign up to events which included visiting makerspaces and workshops. And then we progressed to building costumes for children with special needs, among many other projects. He was a constant presence in my workshop. He'd show up at least once a week, bearing gifts of food and snacks and beer. And then one day, these incredible purple loafers. It didn't take long before he became a true friend of mine, my family and friends, and a regular at repair cafes. Ed was a talented cook, a pastry chef by profession. He was smart, gentle, a very sharp dresser, and a big guy, about 6 feet tall, and beefy. These size 12s were too small for him, but they fit me. The front cover needs a special touch. Gold metallic paint. Now I need a way of keeping this box securely closed while also allowing anyone who's got a funk emergency to access these shoes without breaking the glass or the acrylic. So hinges on one side, on the other, a steel rod like this one, driven halfway through, and something to hold it on the other side. And you know what holds on to steel rods like crazy, eh? Yeah, pixies and magnets. Putting pixies aside for the moment, I'm using these common cupboard hinges and putting my woodworking skills to the test. I barely use this little hammer. I'd like to draw your attention to the left side of your screen where you can admire sharp chisels in the hands of talented woodworkers. Well, let's flush. Okay. And 3/16 right there. Now what I need is a piece of steel rod, which I will insert here, about 1/4 of an inch diameter, maybe an inch long, which I will now turn on my lathe. I'm giving the steel pin a bit of a taper, a rounded end, to mark the other half of the display box as I close the cover. I found that pre-drilling with the step drill doesn't destroy as much wood grain as going in directly with one of my regular twist drills. The hole drilled through the bottom of the box has two different diameters. The upper section is 1/4 inch, while the deeper section of the hole is just wide enough to fit a neodymium magnet. The magnet's been knocked in as far as it'll go through the bottom half of the box. I used my Cricut machine to cut out vinyl lettering. They call this weeding. If you ever plan on doing this and you have even less experience than I do with sticking this vinyl stuff to a glossy surface, watch some YouTube tutorials before doing what I did.
pulling your back, not the opposite way.
Well, well, well. Once more, everything which isn't painted flat black and should be flat black is now flat black. Okay, the shoes will be there. Right there, right there. It seems there's a technique called the wet method. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Air bubbles that you can get trapped under your vinyl. It's called the wet method. Spray away.
Next time. Let's do this here. Hey, this stuff is really sticky.
No, it leave a film.
What's that? Let me go over some of the functions, the features, and the failures of this build. I used acrylic instead of glass for the simple reason it would have taken my regular glass plates too long to get this panel. But the plastic is scuffed in some places, which is okay. The slight damage gives the box character and authenticity. Oh, actually it's not scuffed. Looks like there's glue or something on it. I'm happy with the vinyl cutout, but not the way I installed it. There's that wet technique I talked about. So next time I'm using a water bottle and a drop of soap. The LED strip light, I might change it. And once I find a permanent place for this, I'll know where the wiring will go and I'll be able to hook a DC transformer to this. You know, at first I wasn't sure about having the LEDs exposed this way. Now I kind of like the overexposed blinding show lights effect. The glass breaking hammer is fine, dangling on its little chain, but maybe I'll 3D print a hammer holster which attaches to the side of the box. Yeah, it's not perfect, but I'm satisfied. It's a good first try. So that's it for me. Take care, friends, and see you for the next repair or build video. And if you like the display box concept, check these travel boxes on one of these corners. I can never tell which. Take care. Bye. Bonus content. Let me show you what my workshop looks like every single time after every single project I work on.